own show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell. We don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mensah, ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Let's go Canes indeed. DJ, thanks for actually managing to show up. Blue has a power outage. Jazz is on a work thing. And boy, we're doing like 4 shows a week together now.
I know. It's almost kind of become just a part of my daily routine at this point.
Yep. Blue is actively working on seeing if he can get his power restored and hop on. And then, like I said, Jazz will try to make it in, but looks like he might be running at a work dinner. So might just be the two of us. But we are joined by our sponsor. So we do have some company, and they're always with us too. 305-800-PAIN. After an accident, every minute counts. With one call to 305-800-PAIN, you get immediate access to trusted doctors and attorneys who guide you step by step. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, they are a brand you can trust. Much like 5 Reasons Canes, 305-800-PAIN is focused on the local community of Miami-Dade County and South Florida. They'll handle all your accident needs, including car accidents, personal injuries, and related legal matters. So after an accident, be sure to call 305-800-PAIN. The number is the brand, 305-800-PAIN. Después de un accidente, cada minuto cuenta. Con una llamada, 305-800-PAIN, ustedes pueden obtener acceso inmediatamente a doctores y amigos con todo el proceso. Con una clasificación de A+ del Better Business Bureau, pueden confiar en ellos. 305-800-PAIN tienen mucho en común con los encargados que están enfocados en la comunidad local de Miami-Dade County y el Florida del Sur. Ellos pueden ayudar con todo después de un accidente, incluyendo accidentes de carro, lesiones personales y otras cosas legales relacionadas. Entonces, después de un accidente, llama 305-800-PAIN. El número is el nombre de la marca, 305-800-PAIN. And before you ask, you're gonna have to call them if you got an issue with your car because an iguana fell out of a tree and impaled in your windshield. Call them. We'll see if they can take care of that. I'm not sure. It was not in the script, but we've got falling iguanas all over South Florida in this frigid weather, which for DJ is a summer day. But still,
I'm wearing my short sleeves today. Like
well,
today was the first day in quite some time where I didn't go out without a jacket.
I mean, just ridiculous. Here, we're about 50 degrees warmer, but it's still cold.
This is the violin I'm playing for you guys.
Yeah, well, you know what? I always tell people, you make fun of us now, stand outside in the summer here for 5 minutes, you'll die. So, I think there is a turnaround on this. The feels like 130, that we get in the middle of June and July. This is the other side of it. So it is, yeah, that is a tough one. I
like the hat.
Yeah,
I really do. Like, not even joking.
Yeah, I mean, I do have winter gear. I did live in DC for a while, so I guess I'm at a bit of an advantage because I do have clothing that is appropriate. I'm in Miami, and I am freezing, even though I have no right to be. DJ's in Boston, which is legitimately cold, and he's not cold. And look who made it here. Lou, you're restoring power now?
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, yeah. Now my TV don't work. Oh my God. All right, so I'm here.
Maybe the falling iguanas took out something here.
Well, I can tell you this, DJ. Yesterday, I was probably colder than you. I was in Orlando. It was 19 degrees with 1 degree wind chill.
We were 16 yesterday, so
I was colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too, Blue, and the camps you did. But actually, I lived in Washington D.C. for 15 years, Jason. But anyway, nice. Blue, you came in right after the ad read, so you have to listen to that. Instead, we can get right into the topics. DJ and I did a show yesterday, so we talked about this already. But love to get your thoughts offensively on how, obviously now officially, Darian Mensah and Cooper Barkate are Miami Hurricanes. What are your thoughts on them, and kind of how do you see Shannon Dawson maybe adjusting his offense with this style of quarterback and having another top-level receiver?
Yeah, kind of reminds me of 2 years ago. A little more mobile quarterback, but a lot of wide receiver talent. All the running backs come back. This has an opportunity to be one of those. We thought that 2 years ago was the most explosive offense the school ever had. Well, I'll tell you what. This is going to be pretty interesting to be watching this offense. And got a couple of plug-and-play offensive linemen. You got some linemen with experience. You lose Mawanoa, you lose Bell, you lose a couple of kids. But, I think up front they'll be fine. Remember, that's a specialty of this coaches. Maribel, I think that they've got an opportunity to be pretty good and pretty special up front. You get Ryan Rodriguez comes back, for versatility. McCoy, and I think they're not finished. I think they'll pick up somebody or two. I think they already did too. Yeah. The offensive line will be fine. You got the best in the business teaching them, and deepest running game in the nation. I don't think anybody has all those horses. And remember,
so you're not concerned at all with because I understand Maribel's the best offensive line coach in the country, and obviously the head coach would be if he was still coaching that position, but that's a lot of talent you're trying to replace. You're not worried about that at all?
Well, Okunlola got a lot of play. Ryan Rodriguez got a lot of play. McCoy's got a lot of play. And then you've got arguably the best freshman in the country coming in who will, I think, follow their lead. And I think by the time, because he's been on campus now for a month, and he's been working, from what I understand, they work a lot technique-wise. Strength is no problem. Physicality is no problem. It's just experience. There's not a offensive line in the country that doesn't suffer every year in some way from continuity standpoint. But I think Miami's got they got the goods in there. And plus they got the talent. You got a quarterback that's mobile. You got wide receivers that can get open, and you got a running game that's going to kind of help out a little bit too. So, yeah, if you didn't have all those running backs, I would kind of worry a little bit, but you got all that experience and you could do a lot with them. You always worry, Fish, about anybody you lose. When you go on the defensive side, obviously you lose Bain and Messador, but from a productivity standpoint, you got guys in there like Scott and players like that could be just as productive. So,
yeah, we'll talk about defense in a bit. Just, I guess, are you surprised they didn't go get a center, given that every year they have the last 3 years, that they just decided that they were good there?
Well, they think that SJ is the answer. He's a little light, but Brockemeyer was not that good. Brockemeyer's best time he ever had was at the Senior Bowl. That was it. He wasn't really good. You watch.
He was turning heads at the Senior Bowl, which is surprising, I think, based on the 16 game sample size we had here.
Yeah, but he really didn't. If you watch back, he was kind of the weak link. So, you know, I mean, of the three guys that they brought in over the last couple of years, he's definitely the weakest by far. But I think they'll be fine. I think, you know, I mean, between Ryan, between SJ, between Buchanan, also Buchanan's pushing. But he's pushing really hard. He's worked as hard as anybody there. So I think that. You know, it's kind of time to start taking a little bit of the wrapper off of him as well. It's going to be by committee early till you find somebody. And like I said, I don't think the portals, this deal's not over. You got some time to bring in some more people, and I think they will. I don't think this is finished.
And also, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but our players can still leave too, because I mean, you don't have to go through the portal. Anyone can say Drew Lucas this thing and just
100%. But
it's not. And the summer is when students typically transfer. It's not. It's totally normal to just finish off your spring semester and change schools.
Yeah,
transfer to another school for fall semester. It's like a normal college student activity. So, be interested to see. Like you said, they're right now it'll be by committee, but if something shakes out spring to either identify gap or maybe, solidifying positions that cause people to either transfer in or out. So
yeah,
they can still transfer. You just can't, there's no portal to do it through, but you can still transfer. So, and the roster is most definitely not set. What it looks like now will not be what it looks like when they kick off against Stanford.
Yeah, no, I agree. But that's why I said, there's a starting point. They have quite a few players in that starting point that I think are really, really good. And but having Mensah on board and is going to be, I mean, he's obviously a really good quarterback. So I think he's going to be, and he's a leader, and he's he's experienced, and to go with the fact that you got guys coming back that have been in the national championship scenario. So I think they'll kind of ease them in. I just think that the very fact that Miami has all that coming back, running game wise, and I think the receivers will play out pretty good. I think you guys are going to be a little bit surprised at who's in the mix really early, from just from where.
Are you allowed to divulge more than that? Is it just
no? I mean, I've said that over the last couple of weeks. I've told you, a little bit about Samari and Wingo, who is so far advanced at this point that they're blown away at what they've seen from him. And I've watched him since he was in the 9th grade, so I kind of figured they would be. And that's what they're getting. Now you're getting the elite kids. Now you're getting those kids that come in, at Ohio State and at those schools like that. They go, oh, geez, where the hell? How did that guy get there? Like last year and then here's the thing too. If you remember back in the spring, everyone goes, oh, look at how cute for them to get a kid like, Malachi Toney in the rotation so early. That'd be nice. He'll be dependent on next year a little bit, in a mop-up role. Yeah, right. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And I think Miami's at that point where the recruits that they bring in and also the portal kids that they bring in are elite type of kids. They're not just getting, hey, one day that kid's going to be good. I think those kids are, the Fitzgeralds and people like that, who came in last year. And, I was telling somebody the other day, they go, well, what are they going to do in the second? They're already losing. I said, they're not. I said, believe me. I said, that kid, that Fitzgerald kid, oh, by the way, he's a freshman, and he led the nation in interceptions for a freshman with 6. So he's got great ball skills, and, Poyser comes back. Lucas comes back.
Well, we're gonna talk about that in a second because we did actually add to the secondary. But real quick, I want to get both yours and DJ's thoughts on the Orange and Green Bloods comment here, which is Dawson has shown an adaptability here. It was a different offense with TBD, with Cam Moore, with Carson back now. Mensah, like you said, probably is a little bit closer stylistically to Cam Ward than he is to Carson Beck. DJ, we'll start with you since you haven't seen this show. How do you see kind of the offense? Because Shandos has shown a willingness to grind it out, run on every play, or throw on every play, or anywhere in between. He's very adaptable. How do you see him kind of approaching it, given the personnel?
Well, I see a little bit more like 2 years ago. And it's interesting because we do have 6 running backs, but I see a more high tempo, kind of powered, kind of high powered offense with the option to grind it out when needed. But I would expect this more to be like the Cam Ward offense we saw 2 years ago, kind of high tempo. And for the running backs in particular, I think that means, getting all of them more involved in the passing game and being able to utilize them as weapons, not only, in terms of running the football, but as pass catchers. And, my one issue with Dawson when it came to Cam Ward's offense was that he didn't run the ball enough, in my opinion, in some situations. So hopefully, he now that he has 6 running backs, he really has no excuse to. But I expect more of not a Cam Ward type offense, because Cam Ward was just on another planet, but that kind of big play making ability type of style that we saw 2 years ago.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it'll be a little bit more open than last year. But Blue, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I
Anything
like it.
Johnson approach? Yeah.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
Like I just said, I just think that with this quarterback, you've got the the ability to do some really good things, and I think he's gonna, he runs the ball. He's very experienced, and he didn't have anywhere near the talent that he's gonna have here. So that's he's gonna be a kid with a brand new toy. So no, I think it's gonna be fun to watch. I was just I think he's got an opportunity. Team's got an opportunity to do some really special things.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting. I mean, we talked a little bit about, probably be a little bit more open offensively than last year. Look, there's more playmakers, right? Barkate is a big play receiver. Obviously, Malachi, another year, another offseason, he's going to be even better. And then, Von Dravius Jacobs and Cam Vaughn are also kind of can stretch the field. So I think there's more explosiveness in the offense too, which, lends itself to taking more chunk plays. I am fascinated on how he's going to figure out who gets carries. That is, these are first world problems, but there are guys that legitimately could start at most of the other teams' conference that aren't going to get carries.
Yeah, I think some of these guys are going to regret their decision to stay based off of just lack of playing time.
Yeah, I think each situation is different with each of these. I think some of them probably, didn't get the NIL money they were looking for in the portal and decided that it better just to stick it out. I think they all genuinely like being here.
Yeah,
it's like where your opportunity meets, what your career goals are. And then the other thing though is, what we were talking about a few minutes ago, they can still leave. And I think that's one position to watch in spring and see what who's healthy first of all, because that can obviously color things. But if everyone's healthy, who's getting the carries? What does the depth chart look like, and who might feel like they're crowded out? Because then those would certainly be candidates to potentially transfer in the summer to another program. So that door's not totally closed, but I don't think several of them will. So this will be a very, very deep running back room.
Yeah, probably one of the best in the country.
Yeah, any other school you would say is the best in school history, but not this school.
No.
So
a couple other good running backs before this.
The Portis, Spaghetti, Frank Gore, Najee Davenport. All NFL running backs. Several went in the first round. Gore looks like a surefire Hall of Famer down the road. That backfield, it's going to be hard to ever top that. But most schools, this would be the top one.
Well, it's kind of like a couple of years ago when we had the receiving corps, Restrepo and all those guys, and they're like, wow, this is for most, this would be, one of the best receiving groups in school history. And then you take a look at Miami and you're like, well, not quite here.
Not even close. Yeah.
Not even close.
Andre King, who people don't really remember, had a decent career in the NFL. Andre Johnson, Santana Moss, and Reggie Wayne as your
not bad players. Not bad players.
Yeah, gonna be hard for anyone to ever top that. Same teams those running backs too. Anyway, talk about a problem if Dwight run or throw. But Blue, you talked about this earlier. The other side of the ball, the Canes also strengthened the secondary last week. Conrad Hussey transferred from Oregon State, but he's a local kid. I'm sure you saw him in high school. He was at Florida State. There was some incident with an assistant coach, and he left the program and ended up at Oregon State. But he's back in Florida now with the Canes. What kind of player are the Canes getting in Conrad Hussey? How do you see him fitting with the overall? Because you mentioned Bryson Stroud, Omar Thornton. They've loaded up at safety, and they got another one here.
Yeah. Now, he'll be one of, if not the fastest, one of the fastest on the team, obviously. Miami pursued him coming out of high school. Kid committed to Penn State. And then all of a sudden switched to FSU. And then obviously you had the problems. He kind of surprised. He got on the field pretty early at FSU. And then the problems started. Really talented. Like I said, he's from a flat out foot race standpoint, he's going to be as fast as you're going to get. And just lacks experience, playing experience. And but he'll get it. Like you said, on this team, it's going to be a lot of combinations that they're going to use. But yeah, he's a good addition to have. And like I said, I know Miami really worked hard to get him out of St. Thomas Aquinas when he was there. And yeah, and now they got him. So let's see what happens.
I thought he played quite a bit at FSU and Oregon State.
Early on at FSU. Okay. And then he had some problems. He would spot play. And but yeah, well, but at this level, it's a whole different ball game. And especially with Miami, with all the competition he's got to go up against, just to get on the field. So
yeah. How do you see, in this, both of your answers, how do you see Heatherman kind of, because there's 4 guys who could potentially start at safety between Thornton, Poyser, Fitzgerald, and Hussey. How do you kind of see him? Do you think some of them might end up down the box a little bit? Like, how do you think he's going to use this personnel? It's pretty. I'm assuming they went and got Conrad because they have a plan to use him somewhere. That'd be my guess. So.
Well, I think Poyser and Fitzgerald to be the guys right away. Playmakers. But as you said, they'll find I think in Hussey, you can, because of his speed and his athleticism, I think he fits in a few different areas. And but I tend to agree with what you said, Vish. If they had a plan for him, that's why they got him. So I think they feel that they could plug him in a couple different areas.
And I feel like Thornton and Hussey kind of play in the box a little bit better than Fitzgerald. Especially Fitzgerald last year struggled with run defense. So I feel like Fitzgerald fits better on the back end maybe. Whereas, Thornton, for example, is more of a run stopper. So I'll be interested to see how they mix and match those two because, you can't take Fitzgerald out the field. He's a damn good cover corner and tremendous athlete. So there's a lot of different ways that they can go here, and it's a good problem to have. And it's not only do they have, several great players, they have players of different skill sets and different types. So they're going to be able to mix and match based on how they see fit. And although we may have starters, I could see all of them getting a significant amount of playing time this season.
Yeah, it's funny you said they can't take Fitzgerald off the field. We did quite a bit last year, I think, because of those run deficiencies. If you look at his participation report, and
I meant more in terms of like pass coverage.
Yeah, I mean it's tough though because he got like that long run Ole Miss had was basically him filling the wrong gap, and they pulled him. He didn't play a lot after that, so
Which
Yeah,
I didn't
think
agree with at the
Thornton-
time, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think Thornton is such a good tackler and really good against the run to the extent that I think they, like you said, they can move him down the box easily and kind of play him a little bit, plug some of those gaps, and allow Fitzgerald to be more of a cover safety too.
But I think it's better for everybody
because
because I think that forces him to play more of a natural position than try to play in the box.
Yeah, and I also think Fitzgerald's so good in coverage. You could it's like these are a bunch of toys to play with for Edelman, basically. But you can definitely put him over the slot and have him cover too, man on man. He's good. He's good enough to do that too. So stuff that you didn't have to do this year because you had Keontae Scott, you had Jacoby Thomas that could step in and do that too, and not to mention all the corners that the Canes had. So there was no real need to use him in that. But now if you've got hey, we can put Thornton behind at safety and slide him over too, you can do that. So a lot more depth this year at that position actually. At the safety position. Just a couple of questions. Chad, did y'all let Jazz go? Yeah, I fired him this morning. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. He's at a work thing. He did show up next week. The tight end rant did not get him ejected from the show, so he is still.
I was hoping to talk more about tight ends with him today. I was ready.
Yeah, it's shouting about how Lofton was tight end one did not get him removed from the show.
No.
He's on a work thing.
No.
I'm planning on being at the Stanford game. So I was actually glad the Wi-Fi didn't work at all at Cal, because I did not need to see what the discussion was during that game when it was 38-10 or whatever it was at one point. So glad I didn't see that. Especially maybe we can take this. Is there anywhere that I can go to place a bet on that Keontae Scott or at a low for? You know what? Hard Rock bet. If you're in Florida, that's your only option. So do that. So real quick, there's some other news defensively this week. It looks like Chase Smith got another year. Yeah. So looks like he'll probably be starting alongside Torrey in the all 25 and over league that we're running at the linebacker position. But Blue, how big is that for this team, and how do you see that linebacker rotation? I know last year everyone was really high on Wiley. He didn't play a lot, but now with Wes gone. There's more opportunity there. See Popo transferring to NC State. So how do you see the linebacker rotation working out? Do you think they still need to get someone else there?
They do need to get, but I think having Mohamed Toure back, like I said all year, just a great contributor, especially down the stretch. He's a guy that was a Heatherman guy from back before the Social Security days, and he's a big get. Smith coming back is just huge because that gives you the experience. So when you have to, and let me tell you something, Wiley's ready. He's ready. He's ready to kind of step up to that next level and make a major contribution. I think he's going to be really, really special. He has shown that he is, and he's a guy. I remember when Miami was going after him, they were looking at Armwood and all those other guys like they had, like Pringle and a couple of other kids that Miami had their eye on. And lo and behold, he comes in and he's had a couple of really good years and has looked great in practice, and coaches like him and very intelligent. And he's ready for that next level, of his, not to say he's going to come in and be the starter and he's going to take over, but he's definitely ready for, more playing time, more exposure, in high level games. So, and I think I think he'll respond. I think he'll respond real well. I think you'll see him, learn a lot over the next couple of months, especially during the spring.
But you think even with that, the Canes still probably need one more?
Yeah, I still think that they're going to get somebody else.
What about you, TJ? What are your thoughts on the linebackers?
I'm really happy with the linebacker. Smith coming back and then Toure coming back. That automatically brings additional experience back to the linebacker room, and like Blue said, championship experience, which is very valuable for a team that, while they're bringing a lot of players back, they're gonna go undergo some changes on both sides of the football, and having those two back, especially for the locker room, is going to be big because they've been through a lot of tough situations just this year alone. And Toure has been an absolute beast. He was an absolute beast last year on the field. I mean, he laid it all on the line, and Smith has been a pretty productive player. So I'm happy for them coming back, not only for what they provide on the field, but also that championship pedigree and the experience in big games. Because there was a time, even while we were doing this show, where this locker room didn't have any of that, and to keep having that in the locker room and to have guys that have been in clutch moments is very important. And so I think it's a win on multiple levels.
Yeah, and actually, if you go back and it feels like a million years ago, the interception at the end of the A&M game, Chase Smith actually read the play and got in the passing lane. So
it does feel like a million years ago.
That's why Marcel Reed had tried to float it over the top of him, and floating anything in that win was a bad idea. And it hung up there, and Bryce made a great interception. Full credit to Bryce Fitzgerald on that one too. But if you look, the reason he couldn't fire it in there is because Chase Smith made a great play to cut off that passing lane and take that play away. So it was, having that kind of experience, like you said, Blue and DJ, both of you said, these guys have been on the field in chemo. That's as key as it gets, right? It's a playoff game. They're 5 yards from the end zone. He's on the field. They had Wes. Obviously, Torrey got knocked himself out in the previous play, but that was someone that Canes trusted in that spot. So having someone like that back is huge. I think Chase Smith is good in coverage, much more so than Torrey. Although Torrey got better towards the end of the year. It's funny because they played so many games. It's like an extra year of experience. 16 games. That's
like 2 seasons.
That's 2 seasons for a lot of kids if they miss a couple of games with injury. So 16 games of experience is like accelerator. And then Kermit, I think we all agree Wiley will play a ton. I do agree, Blue. I think they do need one more here to probably fully kind of have that depth chart worked out. But I think the acquisition of Hussey just again opens up more flexibility. Heatherman likes to play with his toys, so I think there'll be this will be an interesting defense to watch because again. Thornton is someone that you can play down the box too to help supplement if there is a little bit of a gap at linebacker, and actually more so in the ACC. I feel than in one of the interesting things you get in the playoffs. You run into these other than Ole Miss. The other teams are all pro style teams where you actually need a lot of your linebackers on the field. A lot of these ACC teams we play, they go 4 right wide. They run tempo. They do all this quirky stuff where you actually don't. You tend to put more defensive backs out there. We actually match up better against traditional teams. It was funny. You get to the playoffs. Obviously, the talent's much better, but matchup wise, A&M's a better matchup than SMU is just from a style standpoint.
I would say the same thing for Ohio State too, which is funny to say, but
not from a personnel standpoint, obviously, but from a style standpoint, it was actually Ole Miss was the worst matchup the Canes had stylistically. In that playoff, so. So in the regular season, all that was less emphasis on linebacker play because you don't really have these teams trying to grind it out and run the ball like that. And really don't have the ability to do that in the Canes defensive line anyway. All right, Blue. Before we a little bit short tape before we go to show and tell I know you've been traveling the state, freezing.
Yeah.
So how was your trip to Central Florida, otherwise known as Antarctica, this weekend? And any kids catch your eye? And how'd that go?
Yeah, we had obviously the first go around when we were up there, we had 118 kids, but I guess a lot of them were scared away by the sub-zero temperatures, so we had half that, but it was good. We got a lot of look at a couple of prospects, a lot of younger prospects from the Central Florida area. Had Alex Dono even graced us with his presence. He came over to check it out. Him living in that area now, and but I'll tell you what, it and I try to explain to a lot of the kids, they got more reps when you don't have a lot of the ton of kids, you get more reps. But it's going to be times like that. They also coming up, the Rivals camp will be here in 2 weeks, so we'll get an opportunity to see all those players that Miami has been on. I know Miami's drawing, it looks like they're drawing closer to the Zayden Gamble kid from St. Thomas, the defensive back. Like I said, it was an odyssey amongst odysseys coming back, because they shut down 95 for 46 miles. So between Melbourne and Vero Beach. So I had to go to a exit I've never been off of, to wind my way all the way to US 1, to come all the way to go 38 miles down on US 1, to come back on Vero Beach to go 95. It took me 6 hours to get home from Orlando. I was in no mood last night, and, especially because I could be honest with you. I know, DJ, you know, in your car, your mom's or whoever's car you've been in, I'm sure you've seen 2, 3, 4 degrees on the thermostat.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday was the first time. Sunday morning was the first time I ever saw 19 on my thing. I took a picture of it and everything.
Today I saw it, actually. I saw 19 today. I saw 4 earlier this morning.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Because I'm used to the 89, 92s, 95s, and 98s, but certainly, it's so over the next couple of weeks, I'll have an opportunity to go to see more with the Under Armours, and then we got some really good stuff coming up. A lot of camps. The team camps will be starting to, right after. The good thing about college spring is you get a chance to see a lot of these kids that go to those. And Miami will have, you could bet Miami will have more visitors this spring than they've ever had. Especially everyone wants to go there and see, Miami, and and the whole thing, guys. You know what people don't realize, because I was kind of making light of it. When I was watching the Senior Bowl. I said, I can understand why 5 guys bailed out of it, because if a scout can't see what you could do in 16 games, especially the last 4 where you're the focal point against high level, you shouldn't be scouting. And it's odd, because I had 2 people that were out there. The ESPN or whatever it was kept showing the kid from Michigan run over Bell, but they didn't show the other 9 reps that the guy got his ass kicked and got pancaked twice. So
for good Senior Bowl coverage, go to NFL Network.
Yeah. No, I watched the practices, and I like I said, Brockemeyer, guys, had a great 4 days. He was singled out quite a few. It might land him as a good free agent, to go with some team to at least try. But they said he more than held his own. They were impressed with him. So that was good to see. And I saw those Senior Bowls do have some pretty good players, but when you play 16 games, if you're on Indiana or Miami or even the teams like Ole Miss and Oregon that came down to the last 4, if you're a kid that's on the bubble, you might want to get another look or so. But if you're and here's the thing too, they say that with a good workout, a good senior day, and good combine, that Messador could get himself in the top 18, 19, which would be great. That's pretty impressive for a guy that no one really, and plus because of his age, he'd be a guy to get on an NFL roster, because I think he's ready. We know Bain's ready, and the thing that I like about Bain is that they're going to be working him in and out, inside and outside. I don't go with the short arm crap. I think that's just an excuse that people make, but that was it.
So a couple of questions in the chat. I guess, DJ, you want to take this? I think you and I are of one opinion on this. Thoughts on Lofton going into a bat for role if 2 tight ends emerge? I think actually all 3 of us are kind of feeling he's a better fit as more of an H-back than a straight up tight end. So I think we're all kind of all the 3 of us on this show are right now are kind of if you want to set the opinion. Last week's show was on this feed as well as on the audio podcast. You get a lot of shouting about it if you look into dissenting opinion. But I think we're all in agreement on this show that is probably his best position. DJ, thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's a really good athlete, and I think being more of an H-back, kind of backfield role allows him to showcase more of his skill set as an athlete. I feel like just strictly as a tight end, there were times last season when he was able to produce and contribute, at a pretty high level, but it was just inconsistent between that and his injuries. And it seemed like the staff was, some games just trying to force him out there, and everybody knew it was coming. The opposing defenses knew it was coming, and it wasn't helping anybody. So I think, just his ability to run and the speed that he does possess, makes him more of a better candidate for an H-back role than just a pure tight end. And I think it would help everybody and allow him to get more touches as well.
Yeah, I think we're on agreement there. This is for you, Blue. I'm assuming word on the street is Florida's trying to close. I'm assuming it's us. Florida is trying to close Gamble really hard. They're the leader. Also, similar comment is they're putting $15 million into NIL just for South Florida. That's any word on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, but Gamble, like I said, I think Gamble ends up as a Hurricane. I really do. That's a style of brand that Miami's looking to. Sure, Florida. I don't just think Florida's putting that money in. I think a lot of schools are putting that much money in for South Florida kids. But you know what? At the end of the day, you got to win, baby. And if Florida ends up going 5-7 every year, they could put $2 billion in that NIL and it ain't going to make a difference because no one wants to play. No one wants to play for a losing team. So Miami's a flavor of the day. Kids will take a little less money to be a part of something positive. And I think that, you get your deal. You're getting your deals out of. You're going to get little deals where it's going to add up. At the beginning, Wesley Vincent never thought he'd be in the whatchamacallit chicken business, but he's doing commercials for them. So, the Canes, raising Canes for chicken. So he's got a good little contract. He never knew. So Miami's you win and people are going to want to see you on. I'm sure Mendoza's going to get a lot of endorsements as well, so that's what I feel. But I definitely think Gamble's going to end up a Hurricane.
All right, and then Eddie kind of pointing out that, Lofton, I think Lofton's a little bit taller than 6'1", but he's definitely shorter than you would want traditionally.
Oh, yeah. He's not a tight end size.
Yeah, he's not a tight end size. So, ideally you have someone else kind of step up to that role and you use him more as an H-back, which, again, leads into his
and I'm sure, Vish, that he would welcome the role to be more of a athlete and versatile because if you remember when he came out of Gorman his senior year in that state championship game, he threw one, he ran one, he picked one off, and he caught one for a touchdown in the state championship game against Liberty. So, he's more of that. And you remember when he got here in his before the season started and Miami was down to no backs, and during the summer he was playing in that one scrimmage that I watched him carry 9 times for 148 yards. So he's the deal. It's just that he's not a blocker.
We should have known about Guidry's offense too when that Guidry's defense with the tight end is running for $150 in scrimmage. I'm assuming not actually Howard Stern. Larry Coker doesn't coach here anymore, so not an issue in terms of recruiting. All right, Blue. Like I said, we're a little bit shorter today after last week's 90-minute.
Oh, that was a sucker, man. I'll tell you what. My feet were falling asleep.
I know, we were like, Blue just checked out. He was ready to eat.
And we kept you from your dinner.
Let me tell you something. When you have to do a 2-hour show like that and don't get a chance to eat beforehand, you get a little bit hungry.
That's why I always show up late, because I'm trying to wolf down my dinner, or else I'm eating cold dinner at the end.
Yeah, well, there's nothing I could have done. I try to stick in. I'm trying to be the trooper and all that stuff. But I'll tell you, like today, now as it was, what happened was I'll be honest, with the reason why our electricity went off is because of me. I got a little space heater that I have over here near my desk, and my wife warned me not to plug it into the strip. So, yeah. But I didn't listen, and so
I'm surprised we haven't had a bunch of accidents and stuff when they sold out of space heaters like at Home Depot and everything.
Did
like,
they really? Wow.
Because we don't have heat, man. And if you do, even if you have heat, you haven't turned it on in 4 years. You don't want to like turn it on.
yeah.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, you never know. We don't.
Yeah, I mean, I have heat. I did not turn it on because I'm like, I don't know what it's gonna do. Like, it starts smoking or something. Hasn't been.
Well, it'll
You're supposed to
stink
like
for
turn
a
it on
minute
and run
or
it
so, but-
periodically. We never do that. So
I can
But I
make you
did-
guys
one
an
last
instruction
question
manual for you.
before show and tell. Blue, you referenced this earlier, so if I could just finish that thought on Max Buchanan. You mentioned he was making a big push. Do you think he's a potential starter or more of like a depth?
Yeah, he'll be a depth guy this year, but that's gonna kind of set the table for the future. I'm telling you, he's worked extremely hard, and we knew he was going to be, a stud coming out of high school. Only because remember he played tackle, but he knows the both guard positions and center. So, and that's a guy that I know that when I talked to Coach Mirabal when he first got here. He looked at me and goes, Blue, this kid's a stud. He's an intelligent kid who picks up everything. He's a country kid. He's got strength and, coming out of Sanford Seminole. But to answer the question, I don't think he'll start, but he's going to put himself on that, on that next level. Definitely, sort of like, look at Ryan Rodriguez. Here's a guy who, was never a big superstar. But he's been so valuable to the team in so many ways because of the fact that he could play a multitude of positions, and he's an intelligent guy and he's grounded and he's he's been a favorite of those guys since he got there, obviously because he went to Columbus, but still. That's it. I got a good little throwback today. I was looking through some stuff.
Here we go. The technology's been enabled. Blue. It's all you.
Technology. So I got a Virginia Tech Miami program. Let me get it back in here. There we go. This is from 1974.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I went to the game and Miami had Miami's schedule that year was, even though here, I'm going to show you a lot of people. Oh, damn. Let me move my monitor over here because I was looking at something. Okay, here we go. Where's Miami's schedule? Can you see that? Let me get it. Let me get it out of the light so much. But even though that can't be right, Miami never played Florida's freshman team. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a tough schedule. Even though you play Pitt, that Miami-Florida Frost game was a freshman game, but it wasn't on the schedule. But look, you still got some dudes on that schedule.
Notre Dame,
Alabama.
Yeah.
See, and everybody kind of like.
Canes went 6-5.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the
Actually,
middle.
I'm pulled up the schedule now. It's like Houston was ranked in the top 20 also. So that was
Was that? Did they lose to Tampa that year or no?
No, 128-26.
Yeah, they had some pretty good guys on that team. Back in the day, and the coaching staff. They had freshman team, which was really good, and that kind of set the table. But that was the year that at quarterback Miami had Carrie Baker, who was. I believe the first African-American quarterback that Miami had. God damn it. I don't know why. There we go. So they had a pretty good, nucleus. I mean, this was a time when Miami was a 500 team. And, they had, some like Dennis Harrow played in the NFL, who was a really good lineman. And on defense, they had who was it? Reuben Carter, who played in the NFL. Eddie Edwards, who played in the NFL. Gary Dunn, who played in the NFL. Yeah. So this was I got this. I was looking through some stuff, and the 74 team kind of popped out because this was a 500 type of team back in the day. And but Miami's nowhere near that 500 now. Thank God they're over that hump and they're ready to go. And so you're headed out west next week, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I should point out we won't have a show next week, I think, because if I don't produce it, it doesn't happen. So, yeah, I will be in flight at this time next week. So,
all right. Well,
and I was almost like we should move it to Sunday because I completely forgot the Super Bowl's a thing. So it's like, yeah, maybe don't do it during Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like, TJ would not be happy if we did during the
would,
Patriots Super Bowl.
I just wouldn't be there. Yeah.
I mean, neither would anyone else. No one's watching our show during the Super Bowl. I just totally spaced out. I was like, oh, yeah.
I'll have to dig out some Boston Patriots 66, 67
I
stuff. I'll get.
I would love that.
Maybe your grandfather knows about that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I still wish they stuck with the old Pat Patriot logo. I like that better than the Flying Elvis one. But Vish is lucky because his logo has never changed. It's always been a star. But
yeah, the logo, the performance, it's all consistent the last 3 years.
He'll definitely take your success, though. And
yeah.
we. I just think, just personal, in that game, I just think there's been no team to stop Seattle. And you got to score with them, and I don't think New England could score with them. And the only team that really scored with them was the Rams 3 times this year, and they lost 2 out of the 3.
Honestly, though, I mean, I'm just happy to be there. I didn't think the Patriots
don't
would make
do
Super
that,
Bowl.
man, because you may never get back.
Well, and the other thing is I've seen 6. So, I mean,
all right.
I'm okay. And I know
this
is kind of sacrilege on a Dolphins, network. But, I mean, I'm just happy to be here. I really am.
No, hell, you got a great coach. You guys really struck gold with a great coach and a lot of respect. You had some talent come aboard, and I follow Mac Hollins a lot. So he's an
interesting dude.
Well, I watch his DIY stuff. People don't realize, they just think he's a clown and walks around without shoes. But the dude actually does a lot of DIY stuff that's pretty good.
He is. Yeah.
Around the home stuff and tire things. And he's kind of as long as he catches 2-3 balls a game, he'll be there forever. The women love him. So he's, good for him. Well, Vish, go enjoy yourself next week.
It's a work trip.
Stay warm.
It's not all that fun, but yeah, it's a work trip. It's not a vacation. So
I thought it was like for basketball or something.
No, I unfortunately, like the rest of us, I love doing this show. It's not paying my bills.
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm actually, I'm going to actually miss the first home game. I'm going to miss this year's North Carolina. I'm going to miss the best home game of the year because I'm going to be in San Diego for my actual job. So I got timing.
Really?
San Diego, I hear, is a nice city, though. So
no, it'll be something, but I go work out there. So yeah, I'm gonna miss the North Carolina Miami game. That's at the Watt. It's the only home game I've missed this year is that one. Actually, wait, I missed another one because we were in Phoenix. That was a better.
Well, you guys had some important stuff to take care of in Phoenix, so.
Yeah. And Orange and Green Black, I noted this. We'll do a future show topic on this. Good off-season content. And we'll also do a show. We'll start doing depth chart before spring ball. So we'll definitely talk about the offensive line. All right, Blue DJ. Thanks for
all right, guys. We'll talk to you next week or 2 weeks.
Yep. In 2
all right,
weeks.
good luck in your Super Bowl, DJ.
Thank you.
Take care. All right.
All right,
bye, guys.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.